we've got some things I'm going to push off till the end of the program here today. Early last year, the Manatee Chamber had a event with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it's going out there and field some balls while the Pittsburgh Pirates are out there on the field. And I remember I wasn't able to make it that particular day, but I like to get out there for batting practice and some other things we have. But anyway, I think it was within a couple of days of that, Jackie, if I'm not mistaken, that we had a chamber board meeting, and there was everybody wasn't really talking too much. Their heads were down, and I hadn't heard this yet, but our former chairman of the board and friend Ernie Withers was involved with a cardiac arrest on the field, and it was an awful time. And she's like, yeah, this is what happened. Holy mackerel! And so thank God he's with us today to give a talk about the Defibrillate Manatee Foundation. Ernie's, besides the past chair of the chamber, long career in the automotive industry, very well recognized, huge supporter of the Bucks. And we've got Martin Gramatica here as well from the Buccaneers. Many of you do remember him. And anyway, this organization that Ernie has founded after his resuscitation by some very fast-moving members of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization, utilizing an AED device, defibrillator, and they were able to bring him back. And so this is something that we can save lives with. And Ernie, I'd like to invite you up to the podium, and please, we've got some great stories here. Yes, sir.
First off, on your table, there's an entry form here. Martin Gramatica graciously has brought one of his books, Beyond the Uprates. It's the intimate memoir of Martin Gramatica. It's forwarded by Tony Dungy, and he will personally personalize the book for you. So if you fill that out at the end, we'll collect that, and one of you will walk away with that book. So I've been a past member here and affiliated with the Kiwanis Club for over 25 years. A lot of you may know me back in the day when I worked for Bill Graham Ford. Then it was Autoway, then it was AutoNation, and then I moved on to Mercedes-Benz of Sarasota. And while I was at AutoNation Ford and Autoway Ford and Bill Graham Ford, I was the representative that came to the Kiwanis meeting. And so for 20 straight years, I was here every Tuesday at the trailer. And so I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys today. I'm very grateful for the second chance I have in life. And I just want to ensure that other people in this room have the same opportunity that I had. I believe that facilitating CPR training and having AEDs available in our community, especially nonprofit organizations, is what I can do, and that's why I started this foundation. And I'll talk a little about my story later on, but I have 4 people with me today that I collaborated with and partnered with. And the first person I have with me is Christina Aristide. She's with the American Heart Association, if you can make her way up. Last year I served on the board. I was a co-chair of the Suncoast Riverwalk, and we're about to have that the Riverwalk come up, and she's going to talk to you a little about that. So she's one of the organizations that I partnered with to help spread my word and get the message out about heart health. Christine?
Thank you all. It's wonderful to be here. I'm a past Circle K'er, so I always love to come speak with the Kiwanians as well. So I kind of feel like I'm with my own family here. All of the story starts with the American Heart Association. The American Heart Association is turning 100 years old this year. We are celebrating our centennial, so that's a lot of work around science and research and advocacy. And today's story that Ernie's going to tell you is the success of all of the work that we do. We partner with a lot of different organizations, certainly the ones that are speaking with you today, but I did want to invite everyone to the Sun Coast Heart Walk. It's very far from here. It's over at Rossi Park on Saturday. In fact, if you just want to leave your car here and just come back and get it in 2 weeks from now, that'd be fine. But it is Saturday, November 16th in beautiful Rossi Park. We have folks from Manatee County and Sarasota County. They love to come over here and see this park and the Riverwalk. So I know it's a pride point for the mayor, and certainly he's been a huge supporter of ours. But, we're really looking to support the community, especially after all that we've been through, to come on out and walk and be a part of it. So if you'd like to join us this year, it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, November 16th. It's okay if you want to take out your cell phones and put it in your calendar. I won't mind. We'd love to have folks from this organization. We've had some of the other Kiwanis clubs. In fact, I was speaking at one last week. I just saw my own face on the rotation here, which was pretty funny. So it's great to have a lot of folks from the community come out and support the heart health. It is still the #1 killer of people, and so we still have a lot of work to do in the community. And we support, especially Ernie's story, through CPR. We train over 20 million people in CPR every year, largely the healthcare professionals, and so this is a particular focus for the American Heart Association. Our next century goal is to have one person in every household trained to act in the case of an emergency. And so take time to listen to his story. There's an opportunity through one of the other speakers here to train yourself in hands-only CPR or CPR. Take a moment to learn that. You never know when it might be something you need to know. But thank you for having us today, and I'll turn it back to Ernie. I know we've got a very robust program today.
So I don't know if you've been driving around town, but every once in a while I get a text from somebody, and it's a picture of me on the back of the van at Manatee Memorial Hospital courtesy shuttle. And I'm like, what is this about? But Rob Corcio, the Manatee Memorial Hospital, their staff was just unbelievable how they took care of me when they rushed me into the CAT lab. Dr. Teresa Raw, Dr. Collins, and Dr. Rossi were just unbelievable, and how fast they got me into surgery. And Rob Corcio, the representative from Manatee Memorial, is going to speak to you about some of the opportunities that you have. And what I'd like you to take away from these organizations, just like the American Heart Association, I ran a business, and I was always looking for team building things to do with my employees. And the American Heart Association Riverwalk is a great team building thing where they can all come out and walk together and raise money for a great cause. Rob, come on up.
Thanks, Ernie. Thanks for using a younger picture of me. So my bad, I thought this was the Ernie Withers roast. No? Got to change the script entirely. Thank you for having me, and I'm going to enjoy giving you a few tidbits about the history of Manatee Memorial and then relate back to Ernie's story. So if you bear with me for a short history lesson, I think you'll enjoy it. One of the most completely equipped institutions of its kind in the state of Florida. That's what the Bradenton Herald called Manatee Memorial in February of 1953. It was named in honor of the veterans of all wars to serve as a memorial of sacrifice and service, and thus its original name was actually Manatee Veterans Memorial Hospital. But because we had a lot of veterans showing up to the hospital, we had to change the name because it's not a VA hospital. But homage needs to be given to the Bradenton Women's Club and other community visionaries such as Bert Hendrickson back in 1939 as they envisioned the need to replace an outdated and inadequate Bradenton General Hospital back in the days from Dr. Larrabee and his wife. However, World War II would stall that effort. However, in the late 40s after the war and in 1950, the campaign began again to build a new hospital. So after the war, it was determined that there were not going to be enough hospital beds for the surge of population that was coming. So Congress enacted the Burton Hill Act, and it allowed for Congress to help subsidize communities throughout the United States to help build hospitals. And Manatee County was one of those. But it was led through the leadership of the local community. Now, what that would require, however, is that the county would need to float a bond. Now, Manatee County, not without its politics, this was going to be quite the effort. It required that 51% of the voting population would pass this referendum. It passed by, at that time, the population was 26,000. We're at, what, 400 now? And the registered voters were at 11,000. It passed substantially with an 8,000 vote. However, there was still a shortfall. So the community rallied together, and the goal was they were going to raise money within the community of $150,000 to make up that shortfall deficit for what would be about $1 million hospital. They exceeded that $150,000 and raised $200,000, with donations coming in as little as 10 cents and as high as $18,000. And congratulations to you, because you contributed $10,000 to that effort to help build Manatee Memorial Hospital, which would be about $100,000 today. On the day of the unveiling, Blanche Henderson had this Roll of Honor book, custom-made, leather-bound book, that has in it every single donor that contributed to the hospital, handwritten. And yes, I did look up under K, and Kiwanis is there. So we will leave this up here for you. When we were celebrating our 70th anniversary, I was reading about the history that this book existed. And this is like the Holy Grail, and it's got to find its home somewhere in a museum. And when I finally found it, literally a tear came to my eye, thinking back 70 years ago when this came together. The hospital opened a week later after it opened. It was already cram-packed. It was a 100-bed hospital. There were over 100 patients, 19 physicians, and 56 employees servicing those patients. I share this with you to give you a little flashback of time when this small community with its visionaries built not just a hospital, but literally an entire community. Anybody here born Manatee Memorial? We have a little parting gift for you today. Stop by and see Kristen. So today, you won't admit you're born. So today, Manatee Memorial is a 300-bed acute care hospital accredited by the Joint Commission, which has had its status since 1954. We have over 2,200 employees, more than 800 credentialed medical staff, and this year we will deliver nearly 2,000 new lives to our county, treat over 100,000 patients in our emergency room, welcome 18,000 inpatient guests, which will approximate about 100,000 patient days. We will conduct 17,000 life-changing surgeries, provide over 5,000 cardiac procedures. There's more, but Ernie limited me to 3 minutes. But it is our renowned Heart and Vascular Center that has made the greatest impact on Mr. Withers' life on February 21st, 2003, nearly 70 years to the day that the hospital opened. We received a call from Pirate City, person remained unknown, about the incident that happened and that Ernie was on his way to our hospital. We certainly want to recognize the Pirate Baseball Organization for all their fast actions for what they did, and you'll hear again and again that's probably the best place you could be to have a heart attack. And upon arrival at the ER, Ernie was stabilized, and he was taken to our cardiac cath lab. After tests revealed that he had not just one, but actually 4 blockages in his coronary arteries. Coronary arteries supply the oxygen to your heart. Without that, you die. Under sedation, our cardiologist carefully navigated a catheter to each blocked vessel, known as angioplasty, opened the blockage, and deployed stents as needed. The next day, upon advice from the cardiology team and the encouragement of his family, a reluctant Ernie Withers had a combo pacemaker defibrillator implanted. He was discharged from the hospital on the 3rd day. The following weekend, he threw out the first pitch at the Pirates spring training game. While these procedures truly underscores the progress of medicine, but it's also a testament to Manatee Memorial and the advancements we have made in the past 70 years. There's a couple sequels to this. There's a little bit more to the story. First, it turns out that Ernie's daughter, Lisa, is a nurse at Manatee Memorial for the past 19 years. And while understandably concerned for her father's condition, she describes the experience as the most proud as she's ever been to work for Manatee Memorial. When Ernie was at the Pirates game, throwing out the first pitch. And I say Pirates as much as I can because I think I get free tickets. Jeff is here. He was sitting in the mayor's box with Mayor Gene Brown. Gene, if you're here, I'm going to share your story a little bit. And upon sharing a story with Mayor Brown, he encouraged the mayor to see his cardiologist. Long story short, Mayor Brown had been experiencing some issues himself, and tests revealed he had a 70% blockage of the left anterior descending artery. For those who don't know what that is, it's the widowmaker. So we saved 2 lives. In closing, as much of a celebrity that Ernie is and Mayor Brown is, so you know, these were routine cases for our cardiology team. There was no special treatment. This is what we do every day. In closing, I would like to recommend that everybody get a calcium score test and check your coronary arteries for blockages. The life you save could be yours or somebody else's. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Ernie.
Judge, we got to grab that book for tomorrow's breakfast meeting, right? Thank you so much, Rob. I really appreciate that. So the next person I'd like to introduce you to is Ruth Landis of Landis Emergency Training Services. The story there, how I met them, is the week that after my cardiac arrest, the chamber had a event at the Pirates, and we're out in the outfield, and I went over to see Jackie because Jackie and Kim, when I suffered my sudden cardiac arrest, the only thing I remember when they were taking me off the field was Jackie and Kim's distressed face, just concerned about where I was. And I'm saying, call my wife. And they says, we've been trying. So, when I went there, I met Rick and Ruth Landis, and it was just it's amazing how things work. And I met Ruth and Rick Landis, and they teach CPR training. And, I was trying to figure out how I could get back to the community after this happened. And just the fact that I met them, I ended up getting certified. My wife and we went and got certified to learn how to do CPR. And then I ended up getting CPR certified that I could be an instructor. So I actually am an instructor for her company, and we have helped CPR certify this past year over 100 people. So with that, Ruth, come on up.
Hello, thank you for having me, Ernie. I appreciate you having me out here. One of my greatest blessings, by the way, is to have met Ernie and Cindy. I've had a lot of fun with you. I really did. You didn't need to go all out and do all that to meet, but I'm glad it all worked out. My husband and I started this company about 8 years ago, and we are now an American Heart Association National Training Center, and we also are in EMT school, of which our EMT students go to Manatee Memorial Hospital, ER, to do their clinicals, so it's super cool. My goal, my message to you today, along with Ernie's, is as an EMT myself, I know how valuable bystander CPR is and that it can make a difference. So what I would like to share with you are some statistics. The number's actually a little higher. I don't know the exact number, but right now it stands at about more than 350,000 cardiac arrests happen every year out of the hospital. So bystander CPR, if you guys learn how to just do hands-only CPR, you can actually double or triple the chances of their survival. And then, of course, using an AED would be fantastic. They really suggest they're used within the first 3 minutes of a sudden cardiac arrest. So unless you have one in your back pocket, that's kind of hard. But doing compressions until EMS gets there can make a difference. So this, probably over the last year and a half, we've actually taught, in addition to the certifications with Ernie, over 3,000 people have come in and actually just learned how to do hands-only CPR, not a certification, just bystander CPR. And at least we now have 3,000 more people out there that know how to do something in the event of a cardiac arrest. So today, I would like to just offer you, everybody in this room, if you have 15 or 20 minutes of your time, I would love to teach you how to do this. So I am located in Sarasota. If you're interested in making that arrangement, it is no cost to you. I'll give you my card and we'll set that up and get you in, and I'll just teach you the basics. You know, it's not a certification, but it is just enough to start CPR until help arrives, and you guys can make a difference as well. So, thank you.
So Neil Communities was a big donor for my foundation, and we actually went down to his office down in Naples and in Sarasota, and he actually paid for his employees to get CPR certified. Generally, it costs $80 to get CPR certified. We do a special for $50 to CPR your employees. So if you feel that you would like to have your employees get CPR'd, feel free to reach out to Ruth, and I'll be glad to participate with that too. So I want to talk to you about my sudden cardiac arrest. It was, I retired January 1st, 2023, and my wife was pretty reluctant about me retiring. Well, not reluctant, she was adamant she didn't want me to retire. She kept telling me that, you know, Ernie, every time I read something where a man retires, a husband retires, I always read an article that 6 months later they end up dead. And she was almost right. It almost happened, because 7 weeks later I ended up dead in the outfield at Pittsburgh Pirates training facilities. I was so fortunate to be where I was, and I like to say that the Chamber of Commerce saved my life, because if it wasn't being a past chair of the Chamber of Commerce and me having an opportunity to come out and shag fly balls at the opening spring training that I could never do because I always had to work, and it was always on a Saturday, so you never do that in the car business. I ended up saying, hey, I'm retired, I'm gonna go out there and shag fly balls. And I was out there 10 minutes, and if you guys know me, I like to post on Facebook, and I was out there taking pictures and doing selfies, and Jeff Podognick says I was just having a time of my life. Next thing I know, I was laying on the ground, and they were asking me what my name was, where I was, and I didn't quite know what happened. In fact, I thought that I was at an actual baseball game, and I jumped the fence and I ran on the field. I didn't know where I was, you know. So is that. So the doctors immediately, Dr. Patrick DeMaio, he's actually the surgeon for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He came out with Jeff Podognick, and they came out in a golf cart, and they were on top of me within a minute. And he started performing CPR. Matt McNamee, one of the head trainers, he outraced the golf cart with the defibrillator, and they ran out. And Jeff told me that during all of his career at the parks, that he's seen them use a defibrillator 10 times on different people where they brought it out, but it was the first time it ever said shock them. And so they shocked me and brought me back to life. So I laid on the field, and it was really emotional, because you see these pictures whenever an athlete is injured and they all kneel. Well, you know, a day later I saw the pictures of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they were kneeling. So that was amazing. But anyway, I got in the ambulance, and Dr. DeMaio would tell me later, says, I didn't understand what was happening in the ambulance, because usually they scoop and take you to the hospital right away. I suffered another cardiac arrest in the ambulance, and they had to bring me back a second time. So they rushed me into the hospital. I got the surgery, and a week later I threw out the first pitch. So a lot of you may, thank you. Now, to answer a question that some of you may have for somebody that had a sudden cardiac arrest, when I was in the recovery room, my son came out, and being a smart ass that he is, he says to me, he says, Dad, did you see the light? And I says, well, no, I really didn't see the light. He says, well, we didn't think you would, so. But that's not the rest of the story. That's not the story. The story's not about me. The story's about you and what you can do for your employees and for you, and what you can do to help each other. And if you learn the basics of CPR, and you learn how to use an AED, the chances are the person that you do CPR on and you use an AED is someone that you know intimately, and you could save a life, and it's important. So when I was in the hospital and I did have the defibrillator and pacemaker implanted, I received a call from my good friend Martine Gramatica. A lot of you know Carrie Ward, formerly of the Bank of OZK. Carrie had heard a radio advertisement about lifeguard imaging up in Tampa, and Martine Gramatica was the one that was doing the advertising, and he offered you can get a free heart scan if you go up to Tampa and get a consultation. And while Carrie was up there, Carrie had known that Martine had come down to my dealership down at Mercedes-Benz, where we had a function with Dick Vitale for the V Foundation, and Martine was there, and he told Martine about my situation. Well, I want to show this short 3-minute video, and Martine's going to tell you the rest of the story. So if you could play that video.
Today's lifeguard day at Simon Field, and we're so excited to be partnered with the Yankees.
Lifeguard imaging has literally saved my life.
We are actually seeing patients that feel perfectly fine, asymptomatic, and giving them early detection of heart disease and literally hundreds and hundreds of forms of cancer before the first symptoms are felt, and literally because of that, saving over 1,000 lives every year. And we have our young lady, Cindy Withers, one of our cancer survivors of kidney cancer, throwing out the first pitch.
She did a better job than I did when I threw out my pitch. Martine, come on up. So Martine and I, being with the Buccaneers, I was a pewter partner with the Buccaneers, and we had the Mercedes-Benz Hall of Fame Club. So with that came a lot of perks. I was able to do a lot of flyaway games with the Buccaneers. Went to London with Martine with the Buccaneers. We did several great trips together. Got to know him and his wife. Ashley and their kids. And his son is kicking for my alum USF Bulls, so he's a kicker right now for the Bulls. And he's former Super Bowl champion, great friend, Martine. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me today. But if you think Ernie's tough, Cindy's much tougher. So let's start with that. I thought it was a roast too. So, but I'll be nice today, Ernie. Now, thank you guys for having me. What we're doing is preventative scans. We do heart disease scans and cancer scans. But when you talk about being in the right place at the right time and how God works in mysterious ways, when this gentleman, it was Kerry, right, your friend, came to my office, he said, I think I recognize you from Sarasota. I said, well, I mean, I live in Tampa. I go to Sarasota for Dick Vitale's event, and then I did one at the Mercedes dealership. He's like, oh, did you know Ernie had a heart attack? No idea, but I've known Ernie for years through the Bucks, and I wouldn't have seen Ernie till the next football season. So I called him right away to see how he was doing, and obviously Ernie's energy, I'm sure once they put the stents in, he was already up running, like back at it. So he was already recovering. I said, well, Ernie, this is what I'm doing now. This is what I'm working with, and if you want to come out and do a testimonial for us, yeah, I could do it right away. I said, do you want to rest and be ready, get your energy back? I said, no, I'm ready to do it now. So luckily, and thank God that he did it right away, because we did the testimonial, we went on TV, but then Ernie and Cindy came to scan at our facility, and they scanned on a Monday. And I think it was either Monday afternoon or Tuesday. I called you to brag that Cindy's heart was perfect. And we didn't know if you had one, but we found out that we did. No, but Cindy, I was bragging. I said, Cindy scores a 0. 0 means there's no calcium in her artery. So we're all excited. Not knowing that 3 days later, we're going to get the full body results, because Cindy and Ernie did a full body scan. And in that scan, we detected cancer the size of a softball. And, it's at one point it was hard, because I'm like, how am I going to call them? They're good friends. And the more I do this, and I'm going in my 4th year, I may ruin a friend's day or somebody's day, but you're saving their life. So it was a hard call to make, but I'm glad it was a call that we can make in time. And luckily for Cindy, we can live with one kidney, so she ended up having the surgery. But here's why I say God works in mysterious ways, because I wouldn't have seen Ernie till football season. And the doctors were predicting that if Cindy would have scanned just a month after this day that she scanned, she would have needed chemoradiation. Thank God she didn't need any chemoradiation. Now, if she would have scanned 6 months after our scan, it would have started to metastasize, it would have metastasized. So it would have probably been too late. So that's why we always encourage our patients, our friends, our family, if a scan and you want to be proactive with your health, the sooner the better, because days, weeks, months could be the difference. And thank God that, you know, obviously being a male, we always take credit for everything. So Ernie said his heart attack saved his wife's life, but but it really did. It really did, because I wouldn't, if Ernie didn't have that heart attack, I wouldn't have seen him till training camp. That would have, and then if they would have, and who knows if they would have come to scan, maybe not, and then it would have been too late. So again, I'm here to you know, obviously, and to honor Cindy and Ernie for obviously our friendship. We've known each other forever, but I encourage everybody to be proactive with your health, because it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what your family history is. It doesn't matter how you eat, how much you exercise. And I found that out the first week that I was in the office. I saw the fittest 65-year-old man I've ever seen, and I said, oh, I want to look like this guy. The guy was ripped. I mean, this guy was a triathlete, cycled 25 miles a day, and he had a calcium score that was off the charts, to the point where we didn't even send him to the doctor. They said, go to the hospital. It was that high off the chart. So that's why I'm here to encourage you guys that, like the doctor was saying about a calcium score, a full body scan, anything that you can know about your body, then you can do something about it. So the sooner it's detected, obviously with heart disease, you know, stents can be done, or open heart surgery can be done. But with cancer, the earlier it's detected, you can avoid the chemo and radiations. So more importantly, you survive it with a higher percentage the sooner you catch it, but also more importantly with good quality of life. So that's why I'm here to encourage you guys to be proactive with your health. I did bring a book to give away and sign for you guys. I'll personalize it. I don't know if Ernie dropped off some of those sign-up sheets. So I don't know how you want to do it, Ernie. If you want to just collect them all, and Cindy can pick one, and then if Cindy doesn't pick yours, you're not going to yell at Cindy. So so all right. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you for everything you guys do. Ernie, thanks for the invite, and let me know if you guys need anything. We'll be reaching out to you through those brochures or those pamphlets that you signed up on. We'll reach out to you guys through those. Thank you, Ernie.
So wrapping up, just want to close. So I did start my foundation, Defibrillate Manatee Foundation. I'm a one-man band. I do it all on my own. I don't have anybody helping. I work through the Manatee Community Foundation, where they manage it for me, because I didn't want to do any of the accounting, but I do the fundraising for it. And it's because of companies in our community, no communities, Ghetto Toyota, Mercedes-Benz, Cox Chevrolet, Dick Vitale. I mean, I could go on and on with the different companies that have donated and made contributions to my foundation. That we have raised enough funds to donate 85 AEDs to nonprofit organizations. We did 20 to the school system, 20 to the Bradenton Police Department, 11 to the City of Bradenton Fire Department. We've done it to the Boys and Girls Club. We've donated to Special Olympics, multiple churches in the community. And so we've also donated 30 training simulators, and we also donated 30 CPR mannequins. And so with that, I'd like to donate one more defibrillator. Mike, if you can come up. So I'd like to donate a defibrillator to the Kiwanis Club. So you guys can use it for any of your off-site meetings that you might have, or for any members that you might have an event that you think that you should have a defibrillator there. You could come borrow it from the Kiwanis Club. So congratulations. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. So once again, thank you again. I really appreciate being able to speak to you guys today. Let's do a drawing here real quick, and Mike, you can, this is my wife, Cindy.
Josh Kramer.
Ernie, Cindy, thank you very much. The stories and the interrelation that we have with friends, that are out there, but God bless, and we're glad to have both of you doing so fantastic,
And
right
I'm
now.
forever grateful to Lifeguard Imaging. It definitely saved my life.
We have,
And one last thing, I currently, the request for defibrillators, I've got 4 more requests from private entities for a defibrillator, and I just got a request from the city of Palmetto for 40 AEDs. $50,000 will, $46,000 will buy 40 AEDs. So if any of your businesses would like to contribute a tax-deductible donation to Manatee Community Foundation, just call Manatee Community Foundation, say it's for my foundation, and I'd really appreciate any support any of your businesses would have. Thank you.
Ernie, before you go, we do have a golden ruler for you to measure your future success and for taking care of the entire community with education. So we appreciate it very much. And also, before you go, thank you very much. Jess, come on up. We'd like to, and I appreciate that AED, and we'd like to return the favor with a $7,500 check for your organization. So you might be able to get some. I was going to say you might be able to get some good AEDs for our community.
Thank you.
Got it?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all very much. Thank you very much. John, can you get that for me? All right. Abandoned my post there for a moment.
Let me get that book so he can.
Okay.
Oops.
Perfect. A couple to finish up on some announcements. We're going to have a board meeting November 20th. Mac reminded me about. It's important that all the board members show up for that. We're going to be having pictures taken. There's other disaster relief things we're taking care of as a group right here. And I'm not sure, we had discussed that there were 16 people right before the last week's meeting, and we discussed where we can funnel some of our efforts. We talked about it a little bit last week, but Rabonia was really affected by these hurricanes that came through. They've got some huge needs up there. And I'm not sure, is Lewis here? Is that you hanging out back there? Lewis, if you would come up, please. Lewis is with the Rabonia Community Association. He's known as the mayor of Rabonia. I think the unofficial mayor. Yeah, come on up. And good to see you again. We had a discussion, and Lewis was able to relay to 16 members of our organization that came before the meeting to discuss where we can help. Sharon had originally put that group together, that committee together for disaster relief. And Lewis went through some areas of opportunity where we could help with construction repair, where we could help with everything from meals, although Meals on Wheels I know stepped up and did some fantastic things for the community up there. We were through some with efforts with Pavitra and Goodwill, Minnesota. There's a lot of beds that are able to be donated up to that group, but we'd like to, we know that that's something that's very needed. We need some additional help up there in Rabonia. And Jess, do we have something? We're going to have a couple checks. This is from the hurricane relief kind of fund that we have. That's part of the overall. Yeah, flip that around if we would. There we go. You hold on to that side. All right. We've got a check from the Bradenton Kiwanis to Rabonia Community Foundation for $20,000 for some specific relief from the hurricanes. They've got to need 15 to 20 homes up there that were severely impacted, and we do take care of our community, and that's one of them. And we're glad to have you here today, and we'll get a real check to you shortly.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yes, I'll just take the time out to say thank you for everybody that contributed to this occasion. That we did really get impacted by the hurricane. It takes the whole community to come together to help us out, and I really appreciate it from myself, the members of the community, as well as the Rowing Community Association. Thanks again.